Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the COD League Season number 3 matchup between Void Boys and Luccini Gaming. I'm Pacing Legume here with what should be the worst match you could have ever possibly seen. No, I'm just kidding. It's probably going to be a good match between the two teams. I'm extremely excited to see Void Boys. They were just recently added to the tournament, and they got their first forfeit win yesterday, so amazing. It was great for them, but hopefully we're definitely going to see them play this time. So I'm extremely excited to finally see them play some action in this event. This is the semifinals of the lower bracket. The winner will go up against the team that won yesterday, Infamous. So that was a pretty good match, a very close end to game number 2. So I'm pretty excited to see who ends up winning this and who ends up facing Infamous in the lower bracket, the next match in the lower bracket. Alright, so going on with the draft here, Draw Ranger and Tidehunter already picked up for Void Boys. It's an interesting lineup. They go straight out with the Drow. I guess it's a hero that they feel very comfortable playing against a Lifestealer with. It'll be interesting to see how they work it out. Also, the Batrider could do pretty well against the Drow Ranger, so it's a very early pickup for it. Generally, it's a pick that we see usually about 3rd. But Void Boys, they seem very confident at this point, so they are going to pick it up first in their draft and see if they can work the rest of their game around it. We could take a quick look at the bans here for both teams. Ricky, Bounty Hunter is actually going to stay in the pool if either team really wants to go for it for now. Neither team has touched it yet, but it is a hero that we could end up seeing in this game. Of course, we could very easily not end up seeing it. So in any case, we go on. Timbersaw was banned out by Void Boys. It's a hero that we've seen quite a bit. He did have his strength decreased a little bit, but it's still a very strong hero, and we've seen it picked up very many times, even after that slight nerf. It's a hero that's fairly strong against a lot of lineups, and Void Boys may be going for something a bit more tanky now, or a bit more on the strength side. Something maybe like a Phoenix could get picked up, or an Io. Other heroes that may not do so well against the Timbersaw. And a Disruptor ends up getting taken out as well. It's a very strong hero with a lot of catch, which makes it very difficult for teams to be able to disengage away from fights. And that's one of the main strengths of the Disruptor. He can glimpse them back into a very bad situation. He also plays down that Sagstorm, which can do a lot. And along with the Drow Ranger, or sorry, along with the Batrider, there's a lot of ways to clean up team fights. Bane is going to be the pickup for Void Boys, so that's one of their supports down. I still feel like we're going to see a Wisp. Now, I'm not sure about it. Maybe a very bad pickup, especially with a Flame Break in the mix that can do a lot against a relocate. But the way that Void Boys went for those bans, I feel like it would be a nice pickup for them, and along with the help of the Fiend's Grip, it's pretty much a guaranteed kill every time you find someone around the map. And Bane is of course very good against Lifestealer, has the Fiend's Grip to be able to take him out during the rage or control him during it, which Void Boys are probably sure to use to its full extent in this match. Interesting pickup here for Luccini. They're going to get a pretty long range silence for them, and some help in taking out either the Bane or the Batrider target with the Mystic Flare. Batrider can just lasso up a target, Skywrath Mage puts down the ultimate, and that hero is most likely going to be dead every time. And Bane, when he's just standing there with the Fiend's Grip, he's very vulnerable to a Skywrath Mage. So it makes a lot of sense to pick him up here, especially when the Bane is going to be so essential for controlling the Lifestealer. So Skywrath Mage is going to be a very integral part of this Luccini gaming lineup, but it is a hero that we generally don't see too much. And there are a couple of reasons behind that, but his early game is very good generally. Very good at zoning certain heroes out of lane, including the Tidehunter. Skywrath Mage has had some very good lanes against the Tidehunter in the past, so it makes me kind of think that we're going to see less and less of Tide on the off lane, going to force him more into a jungle. So with that being said, if Luccini are able to get some of those camps wired up, it's going to make the game much harder for the Tidehunter. Gonna play a little bit of the lure against each other here as Void Boys go for the Vengeful Spirit. So they're gonna have those star-crossed lovers, or I guess that was really on one side. The Vengeful Spirit really didn't seem to care for Skywrath at all. It's kind of like a creepy kind of crush thing for him. I've had a couple of those in my time. I can feel you cringing from all the way over here. Sorry about that. In any case, Vengeful Spirit is going to have a good swap. You can always swap targets out of the Batrider lasso. And swap is another spell that goes through the Lifestealer Rage. So if you want to bring him further into the fight, there's always that mechanism for it. But I have a feeling that the Venge is going to be more useful for interrupting the Batrider lasso, or maybe something with the Skywrath. That'll bring us to the last set of bans. Luccini did go for the Invoker. Lots of magic damage for them right now, and Void Boys, they still have another pick left. And with all of that magic damage on one side, it is possible for them to go for an Anti-Mage. Now, I'm not saying that they will, but, you know, put Drow in the mid lane, Anti-Mage at bottom. It's something that could happen. Generally, though, they are going to put the Drow Ranger in the safe lane, make sure that she gets some pretty sure farm. So, probably not going to happen this match, but it could. There's always that possibility. Going to go for a Bounty Hunter ban to probably keep their mid laner a bit safe. I feel like they want to go for someone with a little bit more meat to him. Maybe a Dragon Knight could work out. He would get benefited by the auras a little bit. He's very tanky and doesn't really have to worry about a lot of the heroes for Luccini. Lots of armor to deal with the Lifestealer. Yeah, Dragon Knight would be an interesting pickup here. Trying to think of some other mids. I mean, both teams, well, Luccini need to go for their possibly a second support, or a support that can do well in the off lane, because the Batrider is probably going to go straight into the jungle, but he can do well in the lane. In any case, Luccini, with their last pickup here, they're going to go for a Winter Wyvern. Yeah, it's an interesting pickup there. You can't always use the... So there's a lot of save here for his team. So they go for a bit of an unconventional support duo, Skywrath and Winter Wyvern. The Wyvern is basically there to interrupt whatever combo Void Boys would end up having. And should be pretty good at just taking a lot of those spells away from Void Boys. But it's a hero that's pretty easily caught out. And Mirana is going to be the last pickup here for Void Boys. That is going to be a mid lane Mirana, I believe. So, a couple of archers here, some good early game, and they're really going to be hoping that Mirana gets a fast Aghanim Scepter so they can push up the waves extremely fast and try to take some good towers. Because if we get later into the game, Luccini's lineup is looking even better, or better and better. So I feel like Void Boys are a little bit on the clock here, but I've seen them play before. They seem to be very comfortable with a lot of their heroes, and it's going to be interesting to see them go for this very fast pressuring lineup. And Luccini, a couple of good heroes there, but some of them we haven't seen so much, and they're definitely going to have to convince me about their usefulness. There's going to be a pause right off the bat. I'm going to try not to pull a purge here. Kind of forgot about the overlay for a couple seconds. Couldn't be as bad as purge though, am I right? Okay, so we're still paused here. It was just checking a couple things out. I guess we could talk about what Luccini have here. We did spend quite a bit of time on Void Boys. Luccini, they've got the lifesteal, a very strong pickup, can get some farm fairly quickly, and he's also got a pretty big team behind him. Invoker's generally pretty good with the team fight control, as long as he doesn't get gone on, and he's got there aren't really huge threats to him other than maybe the Vengeful Spirit swap, but I have a feeling she's going to be saving that for interrupting the Batrider lassos. So, yeah, the Invoker's going to be having a lot of fun in these team fights. He just has to be careful of not getting hit by an arrow for the most part. And I believe that Void Boys are ready to go. Still waiting on Luccini. They did have their Zizzy. I believe that's the Mexican wonder. That is Zizzy. Played for a couple of tournaments on Complexity, but ended up getting kicked in the end. And okay, so this pause is over, and we're gonna get right into this matchup between Void Boys and Luccini. Alright, so here we go. Let's introduce our teams here for Luccini. We've got Zizzy playing the Lifestealer. There's going to be Matthew on the Winter Wyvern. We're going to have an offlane Batrider played by the Sword. We've got Shed going into the mid lane. And finally, we've got a Skywrath Mage. That's going to be Shekid. And now here for Void Boys, it's going to be Snake King playing the Tidehunter in the offlane position. We've got an Eric Dong Mirana at 747. It's going to be Zuan playing the Bane. We've got, in the bottom lane, it's going to be Pat Souls, Drow Ranger, and finally Kevin Durant. His name on his Steam profile is Simple. That's going to be the Vengeful Spirit. Already have the TP scroll early. And Bane's gone for a very fast boost, just first item boots. And Tidehunter's having the Iron Talon delivered to him by the courier. Okay, looks like Void Boys, they want to try to contest this top rune. We'll see if they're able to take a level 1. And with Drow leveling up the Precision R, they're going to have some good range damage for it. Nightmare gets used onto the Invoker, and it's taken off by the Skywrath Mage. Good play by him. There's going to be the stun thrown out. Is Checkit going to be in trouble? Nice. Cold Embrace from Matthew, but Checkit is on the wrong side of this. The only thing that they can possibly do is possibly take down Eric, but 747 is going to stay safe on the Mirana, and they get the first blood, but they do end up losing the bounty rune. And Bane just laughs about it for a while. Gotta love the hero interactions here. 747 putting some good harass onto the Invoker, trading it for a last hit, but it's definitely okay. We can take a quick look at the other lanes. Here in the solo lane top is going to be Zizzy playing the Lifestealer, Tidehunter not showing up to that lane. And then here at bottom, Bane has the Nightmare available. He's going to put it onto the sword. And Patzel, he's getting ready. He actually got a deny. There's the stun. Batrider in a little bit of trouble. He only has the sticky Mapalm at this point. And do they have enough damage? He's going to use the Fairy Fire. 1 more hit, 2 more hit, 3 more hit. And he's going to die to the Vengeful Spirit. So the second blood of the game again goes the way of Void Boys. And pretty minimal of involvement, but it is still level 1 for all these supports. So they are making a lot of space on the map so far. And that's something that the supports for Luccini are not able to say at this point. Skywrath Mage has gone over to the mid lane, putting a little bit of harass onto the Mirana. But, you know, she's going to be completely fine here. She's still got a Fairy Fire, is actually out of region at this point. May want to get that in pretty soon, because Skywrath, he is a little bee in the ear right now, but he could quickly become a huge wasp. And Mirana, of course, has a lot of ways to get away from the Invoker if he goes for a Cold Snap combo. And 747 continues to get harassed out here. Going to get a salve delivered to him by the courier, so he's going to get some good regen in a couple of moments. And she's keeping up with the Invoker at this point. So the early lane lead is not really going to go to anyone. Flamebreaker, actually just the Firefly on bottom. He's going for Kevin Durant, taking a lot of damage from this fire, and he is going to find a kill. Skywrath Mage was rotating over, but he was not able to do anything. And meanwhile, the Bane has gone top, which made it a lot easier for the Batrider to go for that kill. Yeah, that's going to force Bane to go back to bottom. So they tried to do the little bit greedy thing where they send a support over to the off lane to try to get some levels. And that's definitely okay as long as you don't feed too many kills over to the safe lane. Oh, there's going to be a Nightmare here for Shekid. Is the stun going to be in range? No, she's not quite able to get there. And Patzel really doesn't want to go too far away from the lane anyway. He really just wants to keep farming and keep playing his own game, which is kill the creeps. It's a pretty fun game. Okay, they have vision of the Skywrath going over to mid. Check is going to be there, but Snake King has gone in here, and he actually doesn't have a gush. There's going to be an arrow slightly off the mark from Eric. But a couple kills right off the bat. But other than that, you know, these teams are very close to each other right now, and you kind of expect that 3.5 minutes in the game. Games of Dota are not won in 3.5 minutes, but still, it's fun to watch. You want to at this point, you really want to look at like who's going to be getting the towers quicker. Oh, okay. The air just thrown out to take the catapult. Very nice tool to be able to kill the neutrals or the minions with one of those arrows. Very strong arrows they are. And who is inside the Roche pit? There's going to be a Nightmare. Haste Rune picked up by Kevin Durant, and he's going to throw out the stun. The sword is here. He's got the Napalm available. He could go right for the Bane, and Skywrath isn't able to deny himself. Now this Flamebreak is going to be back. The sword has to be a little bit careful. Sunstrike is going to be off the mark, and is Bane going to be able to deny himself? No, he is not. And Vengeful Spirit continues to hang out around that Firefly. She's really going to want to get out of there pretty soon. TP into the top lane. Oh, Leicester, he's getting pretty aggressive. Not really sure why KD, my man, has gone over there. But he really just wants to get to his level 4, but I believe, or maybe deny the tower, which he's not going to get. So the first tower of the game goes the way of Luccini, with the Zizzy Leicester doing a lot of work. Nightmare gets used onto the sword at bottom. Patzel trying to back out of it. He really needs to just salve up. And do they actually go on anything? Leicester ends up finding the Vengeful Spirit top. You kind of expect that to happen. She was like very low and didn't seem to care about giving away the kill there. But she didn't end up getting to level 4, which I feel like was her main goal for going to that lane. And she got basically no XP out of it. Not a very good move from her. But I can't help but think it really doesn't matter all that much.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Invoker's nearly gotten to level 6, but he is a little bit behind the Mirana. Kevin Durant smoked up here, ready to go. Has gotten to level 4 now. Is saving that skill point for when she needs it. And she does also have some support here from the Tidehunter. Smoke is going to get broken, and Vengeful Spirit does not have the right positioning there. Wasn't able to get far up enough onto the Invoker. Tidehunter's being a little bit more active around the map than I would expect him without a Ravage. He's gotten to Arcane Boots now, and he's also gotten an infused raindrop to help him with the magic damage from Luccini. Something like the Invoker has to be worried about. But he's almost gotten to the Ravage, and with Arcane Boots, it's going to be pretty much sure to have mana for it at any time. And with him getting the Ravage fairly soon, Void Boys are grouping up at top. Putting some good damage onto Matthew. There's going to be a Nightmare. Vengeful Spirit has the stun available. They'll use it onto Matthew, and he's able to get the Cold Embrace off, but it's just not enough. Yep. Snake King finishes off the kill, and also on the mid lane, Shek has found the Skywrath Mage, but ends up getting Sunstruck down. It's a 1-for-1 at mid, but the difference there is the Winter Wyvern going down at bottom. Team's kind of neck and neck right now, and Zizzy is having a great time over top. He's almost got into his armlet. He has a Phase Boots and Blightstone right now, and he's looking pretty good. Right now, Luccini doing everything they can to just keep this bottom lane away from the tower, because the Jar Ranger is pretty much definite that she's going to end up killing it, but they want to try to make it take as long as possible. Zulon running into the trees, has the Nightmare available, but he's forced to back up as Matthew has gone for the Arctic Burn. Shekid could be in some trouble. Snake King, he uses the Ravage, going to hit on the 3. Now here comes the TP in from Zizzy, and he can do a lot of work here. Immediate silence from the Jar Ranger, but Zulon in a lot of trouble. Snake King trying to get out, and I believe that was a Nightmare just to keep the Bane there for a couple more seconds. Or keep him alive, maybe, to try to disrupt things. Maybe make one of Luccini Nightmare themselves. In any case, Snake King is being very much alive. I mean, they interrupted that TP with the Flame Break, but they're still not able to do too much to him. Arrow, oh, it hits right onto Shed immediately as he TPs in. Starfall comes, and Shed uses Fairy Fire trying to get away. 747 going to get slowed underneath the Terror, but gosh, ends up finishing off Shed. A fight that went from the bottom lane to the mid lane, and now this mid tower is in grave danger, and it's going to get fortified. There's basically no hope for it anymore. So after that big fight, Void Boys looking pretty good, showing their team fight prowess and taking a great fight against Luccini, who were a bit aggressive. I mean, they even used the TP in from Shed and the Life Stealer, but Mirana arrow on the mark, right on top of the TP, pretty much frame perfect, and they had some good cutting for the Life Stealer. All right, so 747 behind the tower. He's looking for some kills. Is he actually going to get any help? He sees basically the Light Steward there and maybe someone else. The Invoker's going for some Ancients. Who does Mirana decide to go on to? Wasting a little bit of time here with the Invis rune. Are Void Boys going to react to this at all? Doesn't really seem like they are at this moment. There's going to be a lasso onto Zoo on bottom, and Patzel really can't help him at all. Brainsap is there if he wants to use it. He'll just put a Nightmare onto the sword. Tidehunter has a Ravage in 20 seconds. It's actually such a low cooldown right now. And Snake King very low swap back. And there's going to be the Ruinous Curse. Now onto Vengeful Spirit. You're going to pay for swapping that one. And he will very close to going down. Snake King gets hit by that Sunstrike, especially on point from the Invoker. And Batrider ends up taking down the Vengeful Spirit behind the tower. So that is going to be a 2 for 0 at bottom as Luccini, they play their cards right. They don't get ganked by Mirana. And they take it at bottom. Patzel continuing to farm up here. Right now he's gotten to an Ogre Club. I would imagine that's going to be a very quick Dragon Lance from him. Makes him a bit more tanky, gives him some good damage. But we're still waiting for the Eric Dong item.
Bottom tower is being attacked. Dire's top tower is under siege.
I'd imagine it's going to be an Aghanim Scepter. He's just waiting to pick up the components. It's a very good early item on Mirana, but he may end up going for something like a Drums if he decides that he needs the survivability for now a bit more. Especially when going up against Zizzy on the Lifestealer. Lifestealer doesn't really care about the Starfall all the time. Smoke here from Void Boy. Snake King has the Ravage available. Is he going to go for the Batrider? Smoke is going to get broken. And there's a Gush. Stun. Fiend's Grip is on the mark. And it's very actually hard to hit that skill because it's basically point, click, Fiend's Grip, dead. And that's going to be a good one for Void Boys. 747 walking pretty fast with that haste rune. Still saving up the gold, but they are going to become a threat onto this tier 2 tower. Without the Batrider, Luccini might want to think twice about defending it. But they are just going to go for their own tower bottom. TP is going to be in by the Tidehunter. That's a Ravage available if he needs to. He'll put out the Gush, trying to stop Chad. A couple of TPs in, and, well, the Invoker, he's just going to go right down to this. And the top tower has stayed intact. Is Zuan going to stay there for much longer? Batrider, he's got drums. And over at bottom, what's happening here? Zizzy in a lot of trouble and ends up going down. Did he actually have a TP? I'm not entirely sure, but he wasn't able to get away. Is this Courier? What's going on with this Courier? Yeah, Skywrath Mage decides he doesn't really need it too much. But he's trying to come in here with the help of the Batrider. Batrider puts a Sticky Napalm out onto Patzel. And Patzel's going to chase him a little bit with those Frost Arrows, but it's not enough here at the time. I mean, if the Batrider were able to get a Blink, or sorry, he doesn't have a Blink right now, but if he were able to get a Lasso and Skywrath Mage puts a Mystic Flare on top of it, that's a pretty easy kill, but he has to get in range for it. And up against a Drow, that is very difficult. Mirana is getting closer to the Aghanim Scepter, about 1,500 gold away from it now. She's gotten 4 kills, going to help that farm quite a bit. She's got pretty good farm up to this point, actually at the top of the net worth chart, which is kind of unexpected, especially seeing that the amount of free farm that the Lifestealer had. Dragonlance completed for Patzel, and there's been an armlet for a while on the Lifestealer. He's just going to farm up the Radiant Ancients right now. He may even leave one for them to have as a present, just to disrupt the farm even more. Vengeful Spirit going around the side. Could be free food for Zizzy, and Zizzy is just going to go right for her. She's got a swap available, but it's not going to be enough to try to get away from it, and she's not even able to get the stun off. The last hit from Shekid finishes her off. And a very easy kill onto the Vengeful Spirit, taking an interesting path there. Wasn't quite able to do which he wanted. Snaking now. He's getting scouted out by the sticky napalm. Doesn't really want to TP out with the Bat Rider going around, and 747 was able to find the Skywrath Mage. Interesting pickup there. He's going to use the ultimate going forward. Matthew's able to get away with that Arctic Burn. Ward's going to get placed down. 2 Sentry Wards are right there. Eric is going to have to be careful with this, but he's got a haste rune going in. Snake King, he could get a Ravage, but he's just going to put a Gush out onto Matthew. Starfall, and it's there for Matthew. Matthew ends up going down, but on the backside, Bat Rider is able to finish off the Bane, and Lifesteal has gone into the Satyr Creep, trying to make a break for it, but he's going to be forced to pop out. And now with mana for a Ravage right there. Oh, he hits the Ravage before Zizzy's able to get the Rage off. And Snake King finds the help that Mirana needs for the double kill. Now with a sword, he's going to get the lasso off. There's a Mystic Flare, but it's being shared by the Tidehunter. 747 not quite able to stay alive there, even with the help of Snake King. Getting a little bit unlucky. But in the end, Patzel is able to finish off the Bat Rider to keep the gank in his favor. You know, just does it. That brings him up to 1,800 gold. His first kill of the match. Well done to him. And I think there is no time better than now to look at the XP and net worth charts. XP is 3,000 in favor of Void Boys, and their net worth is basically the same. It's really not that much, and the towers are fairly even at this point. But right now, the Drow Ranger is getting a little bit scarier with every item picked up. So that's something that Luccini are definitely going to have to be aware of as this game goes on. A little bit of a chase is going on the top lane. Bat Rider still hasn't gotten his Blink Dagger yet. Deciding to go for the drums first has kind of made his build a little bit slower. I mean, he went for the Tranquil Boots first, and it does help you get the Blink Dagger earlier, but the drums are helping him survive a little bit more than he would have, even though he's already died 4 times. It's the life of the Bat Rider, am I right? Yeah, that was interesting. The Wyvern decided to hit his Splinter Blast at. And Mirana is getting very close to Rags. I believe that's getting delivered by the courier. So she's gotten her Aghanim Scepter done. That's some very big burst damage for her if Luccini decide to get into the area. Ultimate is going to get used. Seeing if Luccini want to go on this bottom lane at all. 747 walking up. And the rest of Luccini, they're going over towards mid, but they're not really able to find anyone right now. Yeah, they're checking the Roche pit. They know that something's up. It's going to be the Vengeful Spirit Wave of Terror, and Void Boys might just settle for taking this mid lane. Jar Ranger is getting the Shadow Blade delivered to her by the courier, and take a look at this. Open wounds used on the Mirana, but there's nothing that they can really do against Izzy, who uses the Rage to get out. And Void Boys just go over to the bottom lane to push that tower down. Right now, Void Boys, their push is going to continue. I mean, we're only 18 minutes into this game. At this point, Luccini are really going to have to rely on their team fight. And without a Blink Dagger on Bat Rider, things are a little bit difficult for them in that sense. Immediately smoking after the tower goes down. And Luccini are here with a counter smoke, trying to go around the side. Void Boys might get a little bit impatient, but they could also find Luccini. Snake King's waiting on the high ground. He's got a Blink, he's got a Ravage, and he also has the Force Staff pretty much completed in the stash. But now the Bat Rider also has the Blink Dagger. Still checking that Roche pit. It's a very fast Veil from the Skywrath Mage. Even though the item is very cheap, it has a lot of bonuses for him that are going to make things quite easier as they go for these defenses. Alright, Bat Rider is ready. He's gone with the Firefly around the side. He's going to get the lasso on the Snake King. He actually drags him just outside of the Mystic Flare. Tidehunter decides to run back through it again. But they're not able to take him down, which is the important part. And now, Luccini, they've got to get away. 747 is ready with the arrow, but he's going to get so much burst damage onto Sheket, who's going to get a nice Cold Embrace. And there's the Ravage. It's going to hit onto 3. Zizzy was able to get the Rage off, and Mirana, without the leap, is going to have to get hit by the Lifesteal a couple times. But the Fiend Script is there, and they are going to take down the Lifesteal. Hello? They just Well, 19 minutes in, Luccini decide that they don't want to play with Void Boys anymore. They say, we hate this. We hate Drow. We're done. So, yeah. Interesting ending there, at least, to the game. Not really sure if something else is going on for Luccini. Maybe they all have hot dates tonight. But they get out of this game pretty quickly. So only 19 minutes in Void Boys with their Drow strat. They're going to make Luccini feel pretty bad about it. So I don't think there's too much else to say. I mean, I feel like this match really didn't have the chance to get started. But it's already done. I mean, I guess they really believed in the Drow strat and didn't feel like playing against it anymore. So we'll see what ends up happening in game number 2. I'm Pythian. You can follow me at PythianLegume on Twitter, as well as at twitch.tv/PythianLegume for when we broadcast things. Do a lot of fun stuff. And yeah, so we'll be back with game number 2 in just a couple moments. Stay tuned, and as always, cheers. And we are back here with more Dota 2 action in the COD League Season number 3 matchup between the Void Boys and Luccini Gaming. I'm Pythian here with what may be a bit better of a match than game number 1. It ended up being only 19 minutes, and I was pretty surprised when Luccini ended up calling it. Maybe it may have to do with the fact that they did not want to play with that lifesteal anymore, as he has been replaced. A couple new players here for Luccini between the series. So we're going to get into game number 2 here with a couple of new faces and some empty places in my heart. Maybe it will be filled by this game. Or maybe one of you in the chat might possibly be willing. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. I don't want to be with any of you anyway. Anyway. So, starting off our matches with a little bit of cringe here, as is the norm here on the English stream. Gonna go with the namesake of the Void Boys, the Faceless Void. Gonna pick it up right away. Interesting that Void Boys have also banned out the Elder Titan, a hero that I personally like seeing quite a bit. It brings a lot of control, a lot of damage to some fights, and could possibly make the Faceless Void not do very well when it comes to the mid to late game. So they've banned him out now. I'm a little bit upset about that. I would have loved to have seen the hero, but I'm going to have to get over it and keep casting this game. Luccini decided to go with some purple of their own. They pick up a Darkseer, a hero that can get some very fast levels in the jungle. It's something that we've seen quite a bit. Heroes going into the jungle to get some like a very quick level 6, and Luccini may end up putting a support in the off lane at some point to try to get some of those levels and be very greedy. And Void Boys also go with the Oracle. An interesting pickup there, definitely to be used solely for countering the Darkseer. You can always just purge off the Ion Shell, so that's probably what Void Boys have just taken the Oracle up for. But I guess that's more to be used when you get into the point of the game where Darkseer ends up showing up for ganks, because I don't think this Darkseer is going to show up in lane at all. So Oracle's going to have to find something else to do in the earlier part of the game than just go for those Ion Shells. Luccini have also banned out the Terrorblade fairly early. We saw a Timbersaw banned out in the second phase of the bans in the last match. We'll see if that will hold true for this one as well. Don't really think it's necessarily needed here in this match, as there's a lot of burst damage on both sides, but it is probably a safe one to take out. But the Terrorblade being banned out, he did have a rather large change. He had a nerf so that his metamorphosis does not persist after reincarnation. It's not like a timer like it was very recently. It's back to the way it used to be, where if he dies with metamorphosis up, he will not have it when he respawns. Which is, I think, a pretty big change, and I'm sure a lot of other people would agree. He's also had a couple of other things, changing a couple things with mana costs and damage, but I think that is really the main thing that makes Terrorblade a lot less desirable now. And Luccini have also banned out the Tidehunter and Alchemist. Tidehunter, something that Void Boys played in the last match, but I very highly doubt that they're going to have it this match, especially with the Void already being picked up, possibly for Snake King, who is the offlaner. I'm not really sure I understand the Tidehunter ban. I think it would be very greedy for Void Boys, and I don't even think they necessarily need it with that Chronosphere. Alka's also going to get banned out. A very strong mid laner. He would get a lot of farm for Void Boys, even though he doesn't necessarily combo that well with the Void Chrono. I mean, you can put the Acid Spray down, causing the Void to do a bit more damage, but he can't actually do anything inside the Chrono, which is really what you want for your carry, or I guess any kind of synergy around the Chrono. Luccini are going to get a pretty strong support and carry combo, Lion and Juggernaut. That's a lot of control, that the Juggernaut could use to get into the fight in the early game. And also we saw that the Void Boys banned out a Timbersaw. We talked about it a little bit before. Do not want to see that hero. It makes a lot of sense. Like, even with the very small nerf, he's a great hero, and I have no doubt that we're going to still see him quite a bit in this patch, especially against the right lineups. Oh, interesting for Void Boys. They've now picked up a Nyx. It feels like they're very focused on making sure that Darkseer doesn't make it to lane, or it could just be... No, I don't... That would be a really bad off-lane Nyx Assassin. I feel like that has to be a support, because Nyx Assassin doesn't really translate too well into the jungle, and against a Juggernaut, he's very bad. I mean, he's going to have to take a lot of the mana away to be effective at all. Yeah, I don't really think... Nyx won't be in the off-lane at all, most likely. He does have some good health regen, but I don't think it's enough to do well in that matchup. So then, on that end, we have to look at why Void Boys would pick it up. Like, what is their plan with this hero? They do have an interrupt. It's a good way to possibly take down a Lion early, keep him out of the fight. That's really the only one that I see right now. Possibly interrupting Darkseer if he picks up a Blink. And actually, Void Boys go for a Husker. That's a bit ballsy of a pickup. That's going to be... They want to go for the early game win once again. So they went for the Drow Ranger strat last time. Now they have a Husker who is going to have to be worried a little bit against this lineup. Very bursty. And Darkseer can always put down that wall. So Husker's going to be taking a lot of damage in these fights. He just has to work the armlet, work the healing, and stay alive as best as he can. Yeah, Void Boy is going with a very interesting lineup this time, and it is a hero that works well around the Chronosphere. That's a ban that we generally saw very early when Void was picked up, or actually it would generally be the Phoenix that was picked up and then Void would be the one banned. A fifth ban, Luccini Phoenix. Clearly to stop the combo with the Faceless Void, but I highly doubt that they're going to send Nyx Assassin in an offlane role. They may even go aggressive with it, go Oracle Nyx Husker to make the Juggernaut's farm very bad, and then put a Faceless Void in the safe lane. I feel like that's a lot more likely here. I'm really hoping that we do not see as short of a match we saw in game number 1. Like, even Infamous versus Asurus the other night, I mean, that was... Infamous played very well, and they had a very good game. Well earned to go into the lower bracket final up against the winner of this match. But, like, it was by no means a stomp. Like, Asurus put up a big fight, and they had a beautiful ending fight to win the game for Infamous. So... I really love to see these heroes really go at it, the teams just at each other's throats, having a very tense game. I live for those 50-minute endings where things are so tight that you really have no idea who's going to come out on top. 19 minutes, it's not really that enjoyable to do. So hopefully Luccini put up a better fight this time. They may have a lineup to be able to do it. They seem to work a little bit better together. They're a bit more solid. But Void Boys, they don't really seem too interested in that at all. They're just going to go right for the big early game and push strat. They pick up a Dragon Knight, a hero that is very tanky, and I feel like Luccini don't really have too many ways of dealing with right now. So we'll see. Void Boys, they definitely have to go for a very early kind of game here. Because that's really where the Husker is going to thrive. And as you get towards the later game and Luccini get their physical damage up, that's going to be a very difficult game for the Husker as it goes on. So Void Boys looking to strike fast and hard here. And meanwhile, Luccini, they go for a Morphling. That's I would have liked to see them go for something a bit more aggressive than that. Morphling, he's still very good, but he's going to have to try pretty hard to get anywhere with the farm. So maybe they'll put him into the safe lane and Juggernaut mid. I have no idea here. I mean, a Juggernaut could do very well against a Dragon Knight. I think that's a matchup that favors the Juggernaut quite a bit. In any case, we are going to very quickly, or very soon, get into our game number 2 between Void Boys and Luccini Gaming. Alright, we are just about ready to get into this match. As the teams are pausing, waiting for everybody to get ready. A couple of personnel changes for Luccini this time, so we will definitely be introducing them. We'll introduce both teams, but we'll pay special attention to who is playing for Luccini. And like I said, Void Boys are going to go for a very, very hard-hitting lineup. Currently, their heroes, I think, suit each other a little bit more, even though they have gone for a Husker. A nice little mask right there. Pat Soul Husker. I feel like we're going to have a very quick game like we did in the last one. I mean, unless Void Boys just end up giving up to Luccini. Almost like they're taunting them after last match. Like, last match was a 19-minute GG, and it really didn't seem like Luccini were going to lose it too hard. I mean, they hadn't lost the game yet. Sure, they were losing a lot of towers to the Draw Ranger. Maybe they just wanted to get into game number 2 where they could get the players that they wanted. But I feel like this is almost Void Boys saying, you know what, if you're going to do that kind of thing, we're going to beat you with this lineup and make you feel a lot worse than you did in the last one. So we are ready to get into this game number 2 between the Void Boys and Luccini. Let's introduce our teams. Here for Luccini, we've got the Sword playing the Darkseer. We've got Skay on the Juggernaut. Are we going for that P for Man Shield or for a Unisex Shield if you prefer not to be sexist? We've got a Shekid Lion over in the mid lane, already TP'd his mid or feed thanks, playing the Bounty Hunter. And finally, we've got Ifrit on the Morphling. Now here for Void Boys, we've got a Huskar played by Patsol. It's going to be Kevin Durant, or Simple, on the Oracle. Got Zuan playing the Nyx Assassin. The Dragon Knight going to be handled by 747, Eric Dong. And finally, Faceless Void will be played by the Angry Goblin, Snake King. Bounty Hunter is just going to hang out a little bit here inside the jungle. Sentry Ward placed down by Void Boys. They could catch him if he decides to walk over there. But over here at bottom, Snake King taking a little bit of harass from the Lion. And Bounty Hunter's just going to stay in the trees a little bit longer. He doesn't have, well, it's weird. I don't know why the whole map is seen right now by the vision, but in any case, mid or feed thanks is going to run past the ward. Nyx Assassin is there. He's going to see him, but he doesn't want to let him know that the jig is up just yet. And Void Boys are going to rotate over. And over at bottom, Snake King's able to steal the rune away from the Radiant side, even with that Ion Shell on him. So Snake King being very sneaking, and he's able to find the rune, even though he's got that Ion Shell doing quite a bit of damage and harass to him. One last Karate Chop from the Darkseer, and we'll see if Zuan is able to do enough here. Possibly just take some mana away. But Darkseer still has enough for another Ion Shell. Over at mid, Bounty Hunter is going to be trying to harass the Dragon Knight, who's gone for a first level into a Dragon's Blood. Very defensive against this. He knows that the Bounty Hunter could be in the works there, so he just wants to be as safe as possible. So he's able to get to the level 2 very shortly to pick up that Dragonfire, which is pretty integral against the Juggernaut. Very important to be able to decrease that damage, because right now the Juggernaut has a pretty big advantage. He's at about 5 damage over the Dragon Knight, and he's also got a much faster attack speed, or base attack time. So it's very easy for Juggernaut to be able to get the advantage over Dragon Knight in this lane. Nyx Assassin continuing to harass the Darkseer. Nyx does have to be careful, but like I said at the beginning of the game, he has some of the highest base HP regen in the game. So he's not really too worried about this jungle, even though he is occupying a lot of the Darkseer's time at this moment. Ifrit sitting at 460 health right now, with his agility very far up. And whenever he gets hit by the Faceless Void, that is a lot of damage that is being done to him, relatively. And now they're going to find that the Nyx Assassin inside the jungle. There's an Earth Spike available. Faceless Void is going to get a haste grenade. He's going right for Check It. Is he going to be able to get the first blood here? Iron Shield doing some good damage to the Nyx Assassin, but is he able to limp away? First blood by Snake King with that haste rune, ends up securing it, and Nyx Assassin is able to limp his little buggy butt away from it. How about that? Very timely haste rune for Snake King. And Nyx Assassin is just going to go and kill himself to a creep, says, I'm done with life, and he's done his job here. So first blood goes the way of Void Boys. Again, a good start to this match. Right now, Dragon Knight, he's slightly behind the Juggernaut, but that's really to be expected, especially with the stats that we talked about earlier. Eric Dong doing some good farming here in any case, and he is going to get the bottle delivered to him by the courier in just a couple seconds. Nyx Assassin again looking for this Darkseer, making life incredibly difficult for him, and this Darkseer is still at level 1. Nyx Assassin has come by again to put the mana burn on, and he's just going to get some levels away from the Darkseer. He's not yet level 2. He's at basically the same amount of XP as a Nyx. And Nyx is even going as far to steal some gold, a lot of gold away from the Darkseer. He's just getting very aggressive with those, and he's able to do that with his good regen. Very good, and actually he's going to go for a stun. Darkseer, he's forced to use the Surge to get away, and the Darkseer is still fine within the jungle. He's also got the clarity. So Darkseer's been forced away. He's only level 2 at this point, and the Nyx Assassin continues to just be around the map, going around the jungle. And he could even find the Arcane Rune here, taking it away from the Juggernaut. That's some incredibly good timing from him, and just making life incredibly difficult so far for Luccini. Right now, Void Boy is having a clear advantage in the lanes. There's going to be another mana burn onto Ifrit, and he's forced to go for the strength gain. Again, taking some more mana away from him. Over at the mid lane, there's going to be a go here on the 747, but so much armor from him. 2-1-2 is the build, and it's going to keep him alive here at mid, and he will even salve up. So basically nothing changes here at mid, and get a lot of fire onto those creeps and the Juggernaut. But look how fast he hits. Like, he doesn't even care. Void Boy's looking excessively good in this early game, and Dragon Knight's already gotten to level 6. Eric's looking pretty damn good. And gets a stun off. Spin is going to be available, and Eric is just going to use he's just using the mana for fun. Like, he really doesn't even care for it. Kitty Cat gets dropped down by Skay, forced to go for that level 1 healing ward, and it'll do enough to get him back up there. Over at top, Patzel has not been contested at all. He's getting close to his armlet right now. And we're going to see him become a pretty big presence as we move out of the laning phase. Still an early game, but not in the laning phase anymore. As Void Boys are probably going to start pushing some towers down with the Dragon Knight ultimate. Nyx Assassin gets rotated over onto the mid lane. We've got Juggernaut with an Omni Slash available, and Bounty Hunter is here as well, getting some good scouting done. Oracles has made his way over. There's going to be a spin onto a couple of heroes. Nyx Assassin, he's not got a stun anymore, but there is going to be the nice Fake's Edict from the Oracle. Are they going to be able to find the Juggernaut now? Oh, Bounty Hunter is not quite able to take the Nyx Assassin out. He's able to TP away. Is there going to be enough damage? But Skye is going to heal up a bit. Oracle not able to get in range for that Purifying Flames, and it's going to run back over to top. 747 is probably going to want to try to get some damage onto the tier 1 tower mid. Yeah, with that dragon form, he's pushing this lane up. Again, still getting farm from it, but he is going to get some good damage onto this tower now. And Juggernaut will not just take out those creeps. This 747 really just wants to put some damage on the tower, but he's going to take some good harass from it. Creeps are here now to save Eric from the Omni Slash that could have been coming. But he's just so tanky at this point that he really has nothing to worry about from this Omni Slash. It's going to take a lot more than that to take down the Dragon Knight. And he's in the middle of no man's land right now. There's an Omni Slash, but Skye has managed to stay right on top of 747. But a beautiful Dragon Knight stun is right onto his face, and 747 makes his way away from that mid lane. A beautiful stun from him helps him to get out of that situation. It still would have taken a couple of hits anyway, but it was still amazing to see that stun get used right after the Omni Slash was done. Very good awareness there. Nyx Assassin uses that little bit of hiatus to get some farm in the mid lane, as Morphling, with the help of a couple of heroes, is able to get the kill onto the Faceless Void. So Snaking, even with the Chronosphere, he's not able to stay alive on mid or feed. He's got the Invis available, and the stun is going to miss. Bit unfortunate there. Possibly could have found the kill, but it's going to take a little bit more than that. And another Dragon Knight ultimate. Stun on the Skye. There's going to be a help here in a couple more seconds. Breathe Fire available. So is the spin. And this tower is in a lot of danger. Nyx Assassin. Oh, nice deny. But the fortification gets used after the tower goes down. And now Skye, he's going to lose his life here. Very low. Breathe Fire and the Nyx Assassin end up finishing him off. So a lot of misplays there from Luccini. They fortify the tower after the tier 1 tower went down. And it allows the Dragon Knight to just put some good siege damage onto the tier 2. Without really worrying about the punishment or anything. So interesting that just pretty much one hit from the Dragon Knight takes the tower down 200 health. Patzel's made his way to the armlet. That's also a Helm of Iron Will, so it might be a Helm of the Dominator also from Patzel. Faceless Void could get ganked again right now, but I feel like Snake King is a bit wary of this now. So he's aware that the Bounty Hunter could be there anytime. Top tier 1 tower going the way of Void Boys, and Luccini do not want to go into that at all. Just checking the trees a little bit with the scan. I don't find anyone with it. Snake King could be in some trouble. Hex is available from Lion, and well, he's just going to back up. Juggernaut now spins away to get from the Oracle. We have not seen a Chronosphere yet this game. We may see the rest of the team. So we had a bit of a talk about this yesterday with Vladdy Daddy. Snake King trying to maybe do the same thing where he waits for the rest of his team to come over. Smoke is going to get broken here, so they know the Bounty Hunter is there. Maybe kind of waiting for the rest of his team to rotate over to that lane before he uses the Chronosphere, more as a counter initiation tool. Lots of heroes here for Luccini. Meanwhile, the Husker continues to farm, and now he's going to get the TP over, and they know that he's here. So at this point, Luccini, they either need to get the big team fight, which they don't have a vacuum from the Darksphere, just a wall, or they need to vamoose away from the bottom lane. It's going to be the Void Boys just pushing this in. This is their statement saying, you know what, Luccini, we don't care about your team fight at all. We don't care about your team. We're just going to take this tower. And there's a Chronosphere on the 3. Eric Dong putting so much damage on the Juggernaut, immediately taken out by the Oracle. And now the Sword trying to get out. One smackdown. Oracle gets a double kill with that Purifying Flames. And, well, Void Boys, they seem to know everything that was going on there with a beautiful Chronosphere from Snake King. And they get the double kill at bottom onto some pretty big heroes, as well as this tier 1 tower.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
And that was also a double damage rune from the Dragon Knight. Really not the best time for Luccini to be anywhere near there. They just seem very indecisive. I mean, they stayed around the lane too long. They didn't really have a plan at all. They get caught inside the jungle with a triple man Chrono. I'm sure that's not what Snake King was really thinking he would get at all. But they do, and they're also going to find a tier 2 tower, pushing extremely quickly, a bit even faster than the last one with the Drow. Looking pretty good in this match, and Nyx Assassin hasn't even gotten to level 6. He's trying to get XP anywhere he can. He's just kind of staying near that medium camp so he can get that little bit of XP from it. And look at this. Snake King, he's back at bottom. Darkseer is like putting the Iron Shells on the creeps, and Snake King doesn't even seem to care at all. He's taking so much damage from this double Iron Shell, but with the leap out, he will be fine. And the rest of Void Boys, they've gone into the Roche pit. Patzel taking the Roche very quickly with the lifesteal and the armlet. And he will take the Aegis. Is able to possibly heal up a bit now. And look over at bottom. There's going to be the Darkseer taking down the Faceless Void. Oh, Zuan going to run right through the wall. But here comes the Dragon Knight in from the backside. Also, Oracle gets a nice purge onto 2. Shekid in trouble. Dragon Knight ultimate is going to try to chase him down. Finger, not enough mana for it. Is Shekid going to go down here? Very close. In fact, he will to that burn off from the Dragon Knight. And Skye is now stuck inside the middle of the trees. He's not going to get anywhere. He's just going to TP away. Couple of big kills there for Luccini, but even then, I feel like this is just too much from Void Boys. Like, at that point, Void Boys were just kind of split up, going for the Roshan, staying in the lane a bit much. I don't think that's going to last. It feels like they're just very willing to do whatever they want on the map right now. Nyx Assassin is getting scoured out here. He's got the ultimate available, and Bounty Hunter wasn't quite able to get the track off. And now Snake King turned into a frog in the mid lane. There's going to be a spin and the stun from Lion. Finger finishes him off. Very easy kill there, but look at the rest of Void Boys. They're thinking about going in here, and they don't have a Dragon Knight ultimate for another 50 seconds, but Nyx is here, and he's put up that Spike Carapace. The sword gets stunned up for a second here. Now he's going to get that purged off, and he's healing up a little bit. Is he actually going to be able to get away? Dust is going to get used, and Bounty Hunter is visible. Is Patzel going to be able to get in range? Nope, he's not. What is this courier doing? Just kind of going around, going to the Darkseer. Luccini being able to work around Void Boys at the moment. They've taken down the namesake of them. But look at this. This push is going to continue. And they've got the Ogre Frost Mage to put the armor onto them. That is 31 armor right now for the Dragon Knight. That's a very tanky dragon for them to try to take down. Alright, 747 moving up in the mid lane. They've got a couple more creeps there to be able to tank the tower. And the Shuri Toss is going to go around. 747 gets the track purged away from him. Probably if he stood next to Patzel, it would have been a bit better, but you know, it's fine. Actually, Oracle is an incredibly good pick here against the Bounty Hunter, but I'm pretty sure the Bounty Hunter came after it. So now Void Boys with the Aegis still on Husker. Haven't really seen him jump for anything, being very conservative right now with his pressure. And all these tracks are going to be here. Oracle's just kind of waiting for the purge. Wall gets dropped down, but there's a nice stun by the Dragon Knight, and now he's forced to go through the wall again. A very weird Chronosphere here from Void Boys, and there's going to be a double stun from the line, but Husker coming in. He's still got that Aegis, And no one's gone down just yet. Patzel is going ham, getting some great damage onto Ifrit. Ifrit is going to be going down on that one. And now Shekid is going to burn down away to those flaming spheres. Now, even with that wall up, I mean, Void Boys have penetrated this base pretty much. And Patzel still has the Aegis. He's not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. He's very low. Snake King goes forward. Skay. He does have to be careful here. Patzel's getting healed up a lot, and that's going to be a very early Tier 3 tower. I mean, last game, the Tier 3 tower didn't even fall, but now we're 16 minutes in, and Void Boys, they just seem to want to end this as quick as possible. Those first racks of the game, 16 minutes, that is blazing speed. And Void Boys, they are looking very good in this game number 2 of the best of 3. If they win here, they will move on to face up against Infamous. And here they go. They're putting some damage on the onto the racks. I mean, if they can get a team fight here, that's probably going to be it. Ifrit, again, getting some burning spears onto him. Patzel, he's forced to deal with this Juggernaut, who's just doing as much as he can to try to force Void Boys out. And there's going to be the leap onto mid-air feed. Feed is exactly what he's going to do, as Patzel is just going to dunk right on top of his face. And he's got another one of those ultimates in just 2 seconds. And they go over to bottom. They want to take down that Tier 3 tower. Without those tracks coming up and the damage from Shuri Toss, at least Ifrit is able to get a Dragon Knight illusion. And right now, Void Boys, they have some beautiful spread right now. Like the sword, he's got a level 2 vacuum, and it's going to be nowhere near to being able to take down the Void Boys squad or even bring them together that much. Let's see if he's able to get a good one off, though. Second racks of the game in 17 minutes, getting very low. Shay is going to be forced to spin here. He's taking so much damage. Oh no, here comes the Snake King Chronosphere. Void Boys Chrono in the middle of the Void Boys team. And that's going to be the Juggernaut and Bounty Hunter going down. And the Sword has to get away from this one. He's going to try to heal up inside the base. He should be fine. Patzel can get the Purifying Flames on him once again, healing up so much. I mean, the healing possibility from this Void Boy squad is actually ridiculous if this Oracle ever used False Promise, which he hasn't even had to yet. I think we all should know about how potent False Promise and Husker can be, allowing him to just keep going ham, healing up with the Helm of the Dominator, as well as the Purifying Flames on him. I mean, he just loves to take damage, and Oracle can help him with that. And Void Boys, they just want to finish this match. We're not even to the time that the other game ended yet, but Luccini, they're at least putting up a fight this time. They're not just calling it. They're going to stick it in a few more minutes, but I don't think it's going to be able to even last that long. Last outer tower remaining, taken down by Void Boys, and they may think about going in now, as Husker has lost the Aegis. Lincoln Sphere finished up for Ifrit, and Husker has the Heaven's Halberd. And I think this is going to be a last-ditch effort from Luccini. They're going to come in from the side. Nyx is the one that's there to break the smoke, but he's actually going to go back in towards his team. Getting a bit dangerous here. Are they going to be able to find the kill? There's going to be the track, and the stun is there. Finger available, but there's no magic damage being allowed onto the Nyx Assassin. Uses this by Carapace, and now Void Boys, they're going right towards the Luccini squad. They don't even care about this. Dragon Knight illusion going to get taken out. There's no replicate available from the Morphling, and all of Luccini are just spread out here. Skay is getting completely scoured out here. 747 is just waiting for it. They're baiting the Luccini squad here. They're just daring them to do something as Husker is taking their base. Omni Slash is there, but the Void is not the one you want to be using it onto. And the Courier has been dead. Goodbye, Courier. Desolator on the Dragon Knight. I was wondering where those little orange particles were coming from. And Skay completely scoured out by this. Chronosphere is on the mark. Now Shekid has to try to get out. He's got a finger available. And, oh, there's going to be the possible combo. Throws it out on the 3. A little bit late with that Earth Spike, but now Shekid trying to TP back to the base. But it's not going to happen. 3 down for the side of Luccini. And Void Boys looking excessively dominant in this game number 2. Third tower is down, and that's going to be it. GG is called. 19 minutes, 20 minutes are the games, and a very quick victory here in both of them for Void Boys, looking extremely good, and I'm definitely going to be excited for this matchup against Infamous to come up in the lower bracket final. Now the winner of that match will go on to face Drinking Boys, and the winner of that will go on to face Perky Pepperonis in the grand final of the COD League Season number 3. There is light at the end of the tunnel here for the league, and I am quite excited to be able to see the conclusion. I'm Pythian. You can follow me at PythianLegume on Twitter, as well as on twitch.tv/PythianLegume. The name is up in the top right corner. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all had a great time, and maybe you got a couple Bugattis off of it. Thanks for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. And as always, cheers.